Hello, welcome to the instructions for Module 13. Module 13 corresponds with Chapter 14 of your OER. We will not be covering Chapter 13 in this course, so be sure not to get confused over the chapter assignments. Chapter 14 is the chapter on health, lifestyle, and stress. As in the past, we will be covering the usual assignments for the module. You'll be thinking about the discussion post as well as the quiz for this chapter. Be sure to read Chapter 14 of your OER carefully and to review the PowerPoint slides associated with this chapter. Let's take a moment to think about stress, lifestyle, and health. Sometimes when students begin to read this chapter, they feel like we've left the area of psychology because we're looking at physical health in this chapter. Maybe you might even think that this really belongs in the area of medicine. The reality is that we exert an incredible amount of control over our mind, and this control can have serious implications for our health. So we're looking at the connection here between mind and body. This is highly important for the field of Western psychology because for a long time, medicine didn't quite incorporate the idea of controlling the mind and its relationship to the body unless they were looking at the area of psychiatry. Well, now we find that there are incredible ways to keep us healthy, to reduce stress, and to improve our lifestyle through psychological factors. I want you to think for a minute about stress. As a matter of fact, your discussion post is on the topic of stress. As you're thinking about stress, maybe immediately you're coming to conclusions about stress that affect you on a regular basis. You might say things like, I feel so stressed out. Maybe you say, I feel so much stress that I didn't get any sleep last night. And it's important to look at stress from that angle, but research in psychology demonstrates there are actually multiple types of stress in our lives, and that not all stress is actually negative or bad for us. This is the concept of eustress. Eustress is positive stress. Let's take a moment to think about what stress is. From a psychological standpoint, stress is just physiological and psychological demands that require you to change. So if we look at something like eustress, we can say we have very positive experiences in our lives that require us to change. Take some examples of positive life changes. Maybe you're getting ready to transfer to a university. That's a really positive experience, but it requires you to change. And there are many others. Maybe you're getting a new job, and the new job might involve having a raise, yet there are demands made on you to change in terms of acquiring new skills. It's important to distinguish between types of stressors. If we're looking at the positive stressors, we call those eustress. If we're looking at negative stressors, we usually refer to that as distress. Distress is the negative stress that can take a serious toll on both your psychological and physiological well-being. Your OER will refer to the stress response cycle. And what we do find is that many Americans experience a lot of distress that they cannot resolve or that they do not feel they have control over. This inability to manage distress has a huge impact on our health. Now, researchers are linking dealing with distress as being related to chronic health conditions like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and most recently, we're finding a connection between experiencing negative life stressors on a regular basis and an increased likelihood towards obesity. I hope that you have the opportunity to really reflect on some of the stress that you have in your life, and you find that the material in your OER is helpful for you to understand the connection between physiological responses and psychological and physical health. I will see you back in the instructions for Module 14.